Good morning. I'm going to start this video by looking at your circle investigation results. I collected all of the ratios, so you guys measured circumferences, you measured diameters, you divided them, and you got the ratio of C to D, meaning circumference to diameter. I collected all of these ratios and put them in this sheet. If you just skim through the numbers here, you'll see most of them are around 3. Some are higher, but if I scroll down, no matter how big the circles are, how big the diameters or small the diameters and circumferences are, the ratio is about 3. And I took an average of all of this, and we got 3.17. So congratulations, this is your first approximation of pi. Now, what does this mean? In this video, we're going to discuss what pi is, and we're going to discuss how to use it. But let's take another closer look at your results. So we as a grade approximated pi at 3.17. This means that we're saying that all the different circles that we measured had a ratio of circumference to diameter of 3.17. No matter how big or small the circle is, if you divide the circumference by the diameter, you'll get this number. This is actually not a bad approximation. There are ancient Babylonians that made a slightly worse approximation than this, and the ancient Egyptians made a slightly better approximation than this. And the current scientific approximation, so the most accurate humans can do, is around 3.14, but it can keep going depending on how precise you want to be. You can and we can keep going for a long time. You can ask Aouni or Maheba, and I think they memorized some of it. But, it doesn't really matter after some point because we don't have the tools that are precise enough to go all this way, right? So for now, we'll just be using 3.14. Sometimes we'll use 1 or 5, but not really. Okay, so let's forget about our approximation for now, and we're going to be using this. Okay, so we can say that circumference divided by diameter of any circle, as long as it's a circle, not an oval or ellipse, is 3.14. So when I say any circle, I mean, if we go back to this diagram over here, C1 over D1, so the first circumference, which is for the smallest circle, is equal to C2 over D2, which is equal to C3 over D3, which is equal to 3.14. This is not to say that this circumference is equal to this circumference. That's not true. It's the same as saying that 3 over 4 is equal to 6 over 8, which is equal to 12 over 16, which is equal to 18 over, 24, right? All of those fractions are equal in the same way that all of these fractions over here are equal. And they're all equal, and these are all equal to 3.14. Okay, let's move on. So, what is pi? It's just a Greek letter, and it's specifically used to represent C over D. It's such a special ratio that is only true for circles that people gave it, that mathematicians gave it a symbol, and the symbol they used is pi, and it's spelled Pi, in case you don't know. So we can just rewrite the equation we had earlier as pi equals C over D. Okay? Pi equals circumference over diameter. Now let's use this equation in a problem. If we have, and let me rewrite it here, so pi equals C over D. It says find the circumference of the circle shown, correct to 2 decimal places. And when they say 2 decimal places, they basically mean use 3.14, not anymore, okay? And so here they gave us the diameter, so D equals 13, and they're asking us to find C. So let's rewrite this equation, but plug in the unknowns. We know pi is 3.14, so 3.14 equals C, we don't know, so I'll leave it as C, and D we know is 13. And now all we have to do is the same steps that we use to solve equations. We just need to isolate the variable. So right now there's division. So I need to multiply both sides by 13. And using a calculator, I get C equals 40.82, okay, centimeters. So we were able to find the length of the edge of this circle only using the diameter. Only using the diameter. All right, let's do another problem here. Find the circumference of the circle shown corrected 2 decimal places. So here, instead of it's saying 2 decimal places again, so we're going to still use 3.14. But instead of giving us the diameter, it gave us the radius. So only half of the diameter. We already know from the last video that if we stretch this, or double the size basically, we get the diameter. So we know that D equals 2R. We also know the original equation, which is pi equals C over D. So we can substitute D if we want. And we, instead of pi equals C over D, we can say pi equals C over 2R. Both of these are perfectly accurate equations. We can use whichever we want. This one uses R, this one uses D. And we know that D equals 2R. So we're free to choose whichever one we want. I'm going to choose the new one just for fun. And so I'll say 3.14 is equal to C over 2 times 8. I'll simplify first. So 3.14 equals C over 16. And then, using a calculator again, I'm just going to find C, which is 50.24 centimeters. There, and we're done. We found the circumference of a circle using the diameter, and then we found it again using the radius. Okay? You have a math-based assignment filled with questions similar to this. Some of them are word problems, but they're all using the same rule, which is that pi equals C over D. You can also rewrite this if you multiply both sides by D. I don't know if you can catch on to this, but I'll explain this in class as well. And you cancel this, you can say that pi D equals C, or if we just flip it, it would be C equals pi D. This is just another version of the same equation. All right? Good luck. If you have any questions, please email me, and I'll see you on Zoom. Bye.